Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bark a Lot. We made it. We kind of have we made it through the week? Have we made it through the month? We're at the end of February. I was saying to somebody earlier this week that February is the chihuahua of months. It is small, it is mighty, and it will bite your ankles. So we did it, everybody. Hi, chat. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you're sipping on, what you are snacking on this evening. I am gonna find. Have I already hidden my show notes on me? Yes, I did, but I found them. Yay. And not only is it the end of February, also because it is the end of February, couple of reminders because I am in the profession that I am in. If you are an attorney and it's that time of the month where you're going to be busy with billing. I'm just saying, if you're an attorney and you work on that month to month thing, be nice to your billers. They just got through a month. We're starting a new one. So now is a great time to get your billers coffee, cookies, just saying. Um, and if you know, you know. So we did that. It is the end of February, which means a very, very merry unbirthday to all of the leap year babies. Because you get 2 days if you've got leap year babies in your life. You've got today and you've got tomorrow to wish them a happy birthday. Happy birthday to all the leap year kids that I know, none of whom are children anymore. Let's see. Mercury is also in the microwave. Mercury went retrograde in the microwave, retrograde, same. That happened just a couple days ago. So if this week felt, you know, more than usual, more chaotic than usual, if your tech fought you for no reason, um, yeah, there's that. And I saw something earlier today that tonight, I think it is, there is just a lineup of planets and it only happens once every 10 years or whatever. Anyway, they're all getting in line like the Rockettes. So, um if you've been feeling like this was just kind of if February was more aggressive than usual, I say we blame the planets, because whether you buy into that or you don't, here is my crackpot science-y take on all of that. Planets have gravitational pull. Gravitational pull affects really anything. And so when they all jump over here or get in a line or something like that, it is going to affect water. And we are mostly water and it's going to affect other things. So, don't be surprised. Sorry, I have either cat glitter or hair somewhere on my face because of course I do. Um, when all those things line up in that way, it's bound to just mess with us a little bit. So there's that. Welcome. If you are new here, hi. Hi, I'm Aurora. I am a legal biller during the day, hence that little bit of an opening there. And I spend most of my day and night listening to court and politics and stuff like that. So, yes, while I'm working, I am often listening to court because it because neurospicy tricks are real. And for me, listening to court helps with the productivity and it's also very fascinating. So there's that. And every Saturday we gather here. We have a little sip of something, we have a little snack, we have a little chat. And that's and we wow, I'm sorry. My brain just buffered in real time because I had like 5 different thoughts that all crossed. And yeah, anyway, Mercury, microwave, resetting. So yeah, we gather on Saturday, we have a little hangout, we have a little chat, and we remind ourselves that there's more of us than there are of them, and this dumpster fire of a news cycle, like, we can take a break every now and then. I know it doesn't feel like it. Trust me, I know, but you can. And because we all need a little bit of a recharge in order to keep going, because we need to keep going. And of course, because I do my shows on Saturdays, I come up with a plan, and that plan locks in until about 11 something that Friday night, and then my plan just has to go out the window. Not this week. You're not doing it to me this week. We're not doing that. Um anyway, all right, where am I at? So, what's on the docket tonight? Tonight we are going to be talking about the United States Olympic hockey gold medal kerfuffle. Cuz I am a hockey fan and I am invested in this. So we're going to go through some of that. And then I am going to give you the TLDR on the Kouri Richins trial, because that is the one that I am listening to gavel to gavel at the moment. And that is what is keeping me sane in this crazy news fire hose dumpster fire madness. As always, this happens before I run the intro. I am going to say this. When I am following a trial, you will find linked in the description of the video below. In the description here on this video, you are going to find the other creators where that's where I'm hanging out. That's where I'm listening to trial and or catching recaps. I try to put a little blurb in there about why I follow them, but at the end of the day, all the folks that are in there, they've got really great insight. I love what they do. They're wonderful creators, and they are 3 of them are attorneys. And so while I can provide my 2 cents and my juror of the public opinion sort of commentary on things and what I'm seeing and what I'm reading, I'm not an attorney, and I highly recommend, if you are interested. Now, I know I've talked to a bunch of people and they're like, they don't make sense to me. I still am going to say go give them a try, because I think that they do an amazing job of making the law accessible to those of us who have no interest in going to law school. However, I love that you're hanging out with me, and love that you want the TLDR of the court cases that I'm following, but I'm also always going to shout these folks out because I think they're amazing, and I would love to see you in their chat while I am over there. So, that is what is on the list for tonight. I need to look over my notes for a second. So, with that, hi, welcome. Let me run the intro and then we'll get right into it. Oh, it's going to be a longer show. I don't know how long we're going to go tonight, but it is like buckle up, buttercup, cuz the 2 stories that I am covering, I wrote like 7 pages of notes on this. So, and I have almost no video pulled up. So, we're just going to microwave. We're going to wing it. We're going to hang out. We're going to go ahead and do that. I need to find my intro. There's my intro. Welcome to Bark a Lot with the Aurora H. White. I'm a legal biller by trade, opinionated law and politics nerd by default. I'm here to break down the political, pop culture, and court headlines that we're all talking about. We value facts, thoughtful discussion, and salty language, so whether you're a fellow law nerd, a political junkie, or just looking for a little hope in today's crazy world, you're in the right place. Tap that subscribe button, pull up your soapbox, and let's go. Let's go. We're going to see how long I can leave my hair down, because it's already starting to drive me crazy. News of the day. All right. We're going to get this out of the way now, because apparently this regime and this I don't wanna name call, and at the same time, like, I have no words for the resident of the White House at the moment who likes to wait until the markets are closed and people are trying to enjoy their weekend, catch up on traders, the normal things, before he does things like attack another country. Well, he did that. He did that. He attacked Iran, and now that is happening. To the rest of the world, I am sorry. Most of us didn't want him in the first place. Most of us still don't want him in there. I don't know. Old Chucky, right before I logged in tonight, old Chucky wrote another strongly worded letter. Like, at this point, this has to have gone around Congress. There has to be, like, we need to start actually having some action. I'm not going to say spend a lot of time on this tonight. One, because I do not have nearly enough information for me to be comfortable to cover it really at all. I will look at information. We're gonna help each other through this next insanity. Because I also want to talk about the whole Mar-a-Lago incident because I've got some wild thoughts on that. I don't know when we will get to that because every time I think I have a plan, that old man does something completely unhinged, and then I have to recalibrate, which is, I know, part of his plan, which is part of why we're not spending a ton of time on this tonight, which is also part of his plan. Here's the one thing I'm going to say. Politics aside, whatever, I don't care. No one wins in war. No one. Nobody, the planet doesn't win in war. Humans do not win in war. Violence never gets to a reasonable answer. Violence begets violence. It becomes a cycle. It's a problem. That is a show for a different day. But that is the one thing that I will have one of two things that I have to say on that. The other thing is call your representatives, call your senators. I need to do this. We need to do this together. We need to hold each other accountable because I remember that I said last week that we had to do passport stuff. You know what I haven't done this week? Get my butt to the passport office or even make an appointment. So we have to do that too. Anyway, especially now, because there's like, we need to get investigations happening. We need to hold people accountable for the crimes that they are committing. I don't know how we do that. Uh, I don't know, but that is a thing that needs to happen. I will come back to this at some point. I'm sure. I mean, this is round one of God only knows what is coming. So hug your critters, hug your family, make sure that you have space and room and capacity to take on whatever is coming next. If that means you need to take a nap, take a nap. Truly. If it means that you need to call a friend and spend 2 hours on the phone, do that. Take about like whatever you need to do to recenter, we need to be so mindful of that because these idiots are just not going to make it easy. So we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. As I say, to the point that it annoys probably most people in my life, the airlines are correct. You have to have your oxygen mask on before you can help anybody else with theirs. So do that. With that, we are going to swoop, and then we are going to get right into the gold medal kerfuffle. Yeah, we're gonna have a little chat. It's a lighter subject, so we're gonna have a little bit of a lighter evening. I am gonna run with the doggo swoop. There is a bark. I've been told that this bark does not make cats jump out of laps. Let me know. let me know, because I have another one that I can upload. I started doing that tonight, but again, Mercury retrograde. Um, so, let me know. Doggy swoop. All right. The the gold medal of it all. So, um, if you've been watching any of the news or any of the Olympics, at this point, you know that both our women's team and our men's team won Olympic gold. And congratulations to both teams. Amazing games. I did not manage to catch the replay the way in a timely manner. I didn't watch much of the Olympics this year because, well, uh, the world and us in it, and it just felt a little weird. I tried to catch a few things. I did want to see the ladies play. I got about halfway through the game. And then I got distracted. I probably had to do a show or something. Anyway, um, I'm a big hockey fan. I followed the PWHL since its launch. I am thrilled that we have a professional women's hockey league now. And especially since last year, the Bruins made me so mad. I wanted to watch hockey, but I didn't want to watch NHL hockey because I was so mad at the Bruins. Um, so luckily we have the PWHL and we have the Boston Fleet. And so I caught a bunch of their games. Um, and so many of the PWHL players are also Olympians, past and present. And the United States women's team won their gold medal. The boys also won their gold medal. And now I am going to say this was the first win for the boys, so big deal. First win for the boys since 1980. Good on you. Congratulations. Great team, probably good coaching, although considering it was the coach that pulled Cash Patel into the locker room from the reports I've heard, I don't know. I don't know how he coaches these guys. Anyway, fun fact, the United States women have been going to the Olympics since they were able to be in the Olympics starting in 1998, which is a whole different story. Here are the stats that I pulled up. The United States women's hockey team has won gold 3 times in 1998, 2018, and 2026. They have taken home silver in 2002, 2010, 2014, and 2022. And we had 1 bronze in 2006. So we do pretty well most of the time. Sort of like our United States women's soccer team that is always kicking butt and taking names. The boys won in 1980, and I know that was a big deal, and I don't wanna take away from their win. I'm just saying that, like, the women have put together a consistently better team, or a more consistent winning team throughout all of the years that we have been in the Olympics. So I wanted to bring that in. And then after the women won, I saw some congratulations and stuff like that. After the men won, because it was like Miracle on Ice round 2, it was a rematch, it was all of these things. And because, well, let's face it, there's a certain amount of um male centered, how to put this, the media tends to be more male centered in all fields, right? How many times have we seen well, let's just take George Clooney and Amal Clooney. She is a high-powered international lawyer. She has accomplished a remarkable amount in her career, and so often the media just refers to her as George Clooney's wife, when really, when you're looking at, like, accomplishments, degrees, that kinda thing, if we're gonna put the power in who we're focusing on, George is Amal's husband, and that's kind of where we're at. So that's just the analogy I'm bringing into this. I know it's more complicated and all of that. So anyway, boys win their gold medal. There is this locker room thing. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say on the locker room. When you are on a team sport or when you do that sort of an athletic competition, I am guessing, because I have not done this aside from some pickup games of soccer way back in the day. Here's what I'm gonna say. There is a certain euphoria when you get done with a round of games that intense and you've won and things are great. So there's not a lot of critical thinking happening in that moment. And I don't expect there to be. Um it's that come down, if you're a theater kid, it's when you get done with a really great show, it takes some time to wind down and you're not always paying attention to all of the little things happening around you. For that reason, we can look at the video of Kash Patel calling the president and get all of that. I don't think we need to, but I do have it pulled up. Um, but it is that moment. So I am not going to give the boys a whole lot of grief or aggravation for what they were doing in the locker room in that moment. The laughter, which much has been made out of the laughter and how they shouldn't have laughed and stuff like that. Here's my take on that laughter. And I've seen it echoed from a lot of the women um hockey players is in that moment. First of all, you're not really hearing, never mind registering much of what is happening. And so what I heard in that video is a lot of nervous laughter. And the team did not call. I am not defending them, by the way, we will get to that. But the team wasn't the one that called the president. The president didn't even call the team from the reporting I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that Kash Patel, because he's just cosplaying as his director of the FBI, he's just that Kash Patel FaceTimed the president to be like, "Look at me, I'm in the locker room and they won gold and look at how cool I am." That is what I heard happen. I was not there. I do not know. I know that the fact that this video got leaked to ProPublica nearly in real time tells me that there was somebody in that locker room that went, this feels not great. So, okay, he hyped up the president hyped up the boys. The boys were like, yeah. And then the president did what the president does, which is he said something truly, I mean, for all age and orange, I name called. I tried not to. Anyway, for this president, it was truly pretty tame. His what he said. I guess I have to invite the women because otherwise they'll impeach me. No, sir, we have a list about a mile and a half long of impeachable offenses that you've committed. Nobody's bringing any of them to the table, but there is a very long list of impeachable offenses and an even longer list of actual crimes that I think could be alleged. Never mind crimes that have been adjudicated, at least in civil court. So, the list is long. And okay, whatever. He said it's uh, he thinks they'll that will the Congress will impeach him if he doesn't invite the ladies. Let me okay. What the boys got as their reward for winning gold was, based on my understanding, whether or not they took this opportunity to fly in what I had saw reported as a military plane or not. If I were them, I would have chosen the seats that they had to get home. But no, we'll send a military plane to come pick you up, which is what I think of when I hear military plane. I do think of like an actual passenger plane, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of like first class seats or anything like that in my mind's eye. If you know what plane they flew on, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. I am super curious as to like, for all of the grief and aggravation that these boys are getting over the last, and I'm coming with more, I am just going to say, I feel like at the very least, a plane with your average coach seats would be nice. But anyway, so the boys all called this an honor, and I'm like, okay, so you get flown home on a military plane. Whether or not I've seen reports that the McDonald's isn't necessarily true, but honestly, Trump loves to feed people to McDonald's, and I feel like it's and he's done it with other teams before, where it's like, here's your McDonald's spread. Um, okay, sure. Whether it's that or something else, it did not appear to be decent food. Like, certainly not great food at all. So you get there, you get to listen to old man yells at clouds and talk about how great he is in the White House. You get to go see all the pictures that he has put up with all of the insulting little blurbs beneath them. And why are they there? Oh, right, they're there because I am fairly certain, I cannot diagnose. It's just, it looks nearly identical to a lot of the times I've seen dementia in people and these reminders of who people are, which apparently for this particular president includes his favorite insults, which is weird. So, okay. Then they get to sure, it's an honor to go see the White House. Is it? I mean, it's cool to see the White House. I'm sure there are times where it has been an honor, and there are previous presidents where I think it would be an honor. It's also an honor when it's not offered to just, there's usually some other things in and around there. And then they're coming for the State of the Union. Now, even when we're looking at a Jimmy Carter, or as much as I don't like a lot of things the man actually did, a Bill Clinton was very charismatic. He was great at speeches. Obama, a little slow, but generally really great with the speeches, some nice humor, things like that. Even with the most entertaining of presidents, the State of the Union address is not one that is like, that's not a fun White House event to go to. So, sure, the boys decided that they wanted to go, but like, I mean, it just doesn't seem like it would be fun to sit for 2 hours listening to old man who yells at clouds talk about how amazing he is and how wonderful he is and how he's the bestest president that ever presidented. But okay, you want to go ahead and do that? You go ahead and do that. I found it kind of insane that Trump stuck them in the press box where there are rules as to what you can and cannot do, say. And then I think, and I would not quote me on this because I only sort of half watched the second half of the State of the Union, but I heard that there was commentary about the players not responding, but they can't respond because they're in the press box. So basically, the entire boys team got used as props for the president. And they tried desperately to make the narrative basically be like, look at the lovely men. Well, here while all of that is happening, here's what happened for the amazing women's hockey team. So this all goes down. The video gets leaked to ProPublica. The internet rightfully gets completely upset on behalf of the ladies. They are right royal and mad. They think none of this is okay. This is not equality because it's not. We should not be elevating one over the other when both have won. Also, women kicked ass in the Olympics this year, and that has gotten barely a whisper from any of the people talking about the men's hockey team. So, in the not in the general internet, I'm talking about the people who are like, leave the poor boys alone. They did the best they could. Okay, they did, but whatever. They also have a whole PR team, and they're younger than I am. Like, I could be a lot of those boys' mom. So, I like they know how to mitigate this, and most of them haven't. So that's a choice, and I will hold them accountable for that choice. Um, the press also started asking all of the women about how they could basically, I saw one clip of an interview where the questioner was effectively asking the women if they could do all of the emotional work for the men, and then and the player was basically like, they can make their own choice. We can make our choice. We all have to go back to work now. So why don't you ask all of the men that question? Yes. Yes. Go ask these boys about their individual take on that. Cause so far I've heard a lot of, oh, we shouldn't have done it. Oh, maybe we should have had a better reaction. You either know better or you don't. Personally, I would like to see this settled on the ice. I'm just saying, I would like an exhibition game with the PWHL rules between the men and the women. I just want to see. I just want to see. It can be an exhibition game. I just want to see how that pans out because I have my thoughts. I have my thoughts. And if you think for 1 second that those ladies cannot body check with the best of them, you need to watch some more PWHL hockey. No, they did not sponsor this. Um, but you should seriously watch the women play, cause yeah. So all the boys are giving their, blah 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 responses. That was incredibly rude. That was just I heard the Charlie Brown adults every time those boys opened their mouths because none of what they were saying was, um had any oomph to it for me, and I think it should have, personally. So all the boys are getting chartered over to be a prop for the president. The women were getting ready to go back to work, and somebody on the internet tagged in Flava Flav, who is like the self-appointed female athlete hype man at the Olympics. Cheers to you, good sir. You do wonderful work. Well, he was like, "Hey, I want to throw these amazing women a party in Vegas. I'll bet you that we could get some hotels on board and things like that." And the internet responded beautifully. I do believe the internet is actually compiling a list of the huge amount of companies that have hopped on board to give our gold medal women's team the epic party that they deserve on a timeline that works for them, so nobody's messing with the games and all of that. And I I am here for it, and I love the list. I love that people are compiling the list because when that happened, I remember saying, "Go woke, go broke" sounds like it rhymes. It sounds reasonable, right? And then, but in reality, the exact opposite ends up happening. Um, yeah, oh, yes, regarding the scrimmage game. Oh, so many of these women were raised by hockey greats. So many of these women have dads who were in the NHL. Um, at least a couple of them, my version of so many and reality, I have no idea what the actual numbers are at all. But no, like a lot of them, yeah, I think there are several players with brothers in the NHL. So they're playing together at home anyway. And most of those girls in almost all women's sports, they're playing against the boys in the neighborhood. So I'm here for that scrimmage. If anybody gets that over to the powers that be, like, let me know. I wanna buy a ticket. I know exactly where I wanna sit. Um, I I wanna see that scrimmage. And to anybody being like, "Well, the boys are gonna kick the girls' ass." Okay. I don't think the women are afraid of that at all. Um, I just somebody clip this and send that out there because I wanna see this happen. I really want this game. I really want this game. I really, really, really want this All-Stars scrimmage match, US women's hockey team versus the US men's hockey team. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. Um, alright, so the ladies are getting this amazing party hosted by Flava Flav, put together. Tons of brands coming together to give the gals what they want, and before anybody comes with, "Oh, they're getting all the free stuff," this is where I'm gonna say the highest paid PWHL player currently has a salary of $100,000, which for a professional sport is like now professional women's sport, and I know all the arguments, the advertising isn't there, blah, blah, blah. Well, the advertising isn't there because I'm sitting here talking about the amount of media that the men are getting and the amount of media that the women are getting. And that's part of the problem. Okay. So the highest paid player, most of them are in the mid 50s. Most PWHL players are in the mid 50K. Now, when you are in a sport where a sport in a country where a single injury could cost you 5 times that in medical bills, I have a problem with that, especially since the lowest paid male player, I think, is in the vicinity of 1,000,000. I ran the check, I lost the tab, whatever. Um, but the disparity is that insane. The lowest paid NHL player makes like 10 times what the highest paid PWHL player makes. And I have a huge problem with that disparity. So while we're here, go buy your tickets, go buy your merch, go support the PWHL. You're mad at the NHL? Fine, they'll survive. Great. They will survive. Their fan base is big enough, whatever. People have season tickets, I don't care. Go support the PWHL. Let's get all the numbers up so that those women have the bargaining power and the audience that they need to start demanding what I think of as a reasonable paycheck for the job that they do. Um, and mom coming in with, as a girl playing with boys with women running companies, they have to be they have to be better all the time to compete at all. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's that Ginger Rogers thing. She did it backwards and in heels. We're consistently outperforming. It's why this particular regime, sidetrack, it's why this particular regime has this big thing against DEI and all of that, because they're having to actually do the work with DEI in place. They're having to do when an actual meritocracy exists, most of these boys don't get past entry level. And that's a them problem, not women do not need to make themselves smaller at all for that. I did see reports that the many of the boys, when they had their celebration when they came home, at least with Boston, the celebration did not go the way they thought that it would go. I saw that. Now, the Fleet, Boston Fleet, had a celebration for their 2 gold medal winners. And from what I saw, I saw it pop up and I went, "Ooh, maybe I could get tickets." And then I saw it was sold out almost in that span of time. I didn't see that for Swayman and McAvoy. Now, McAvoy has had the best, he's had the least, blah response to all of this, which gives me hope. I'm hopeful that Swayman and McAvoy are not a part of the whole big problem, but I don't know. So the party for the women had, oh, and did I forget? I think I did forget. While they were still in Italy when this whole thing went down, yes, Stanley Tucci was like, "Why don't I take you out to dinner?" Stanley Tucci in Italy took the United States women's hockey team out for a lovely dinner and some wine. While the boys got to go play nice with the tottering old fool who is currently the resident of the White House. Objectively, the women are doing better. They are just doing better. I look forward to all of the info on the party. Yeah. All of that. I will say, if final note. All of this went down when there is this show called Heated Rivalry, which I haven't watched because I've seen a lot of people who are like, if you're a hockey fan, this is maybe not for you. But it's bringing a huge group of people into the hockey world that were not interested at all in hockey before, because sport ball. And welcome. First of all, welcome to all of the newbies. Welcome to the one sport that I can watch. Soccer too, to an extent, but hockey is really just soccer on ice. And with a little puck instead of a big bouncy ball. And so I've been a hockey fan for a very long time. So I would like to say to all of those who are coming on over from Heated Rivalry, welcome. We are very particular about our teams. Most of us, it's like once you lock in on a team, you're basically there. I have seen very, very few hockey fans switch up the team that they are fans of. Some people can do it. I am not people. I am not those people. So, welcome. join us. While you may be mad at the men, that's totally fine. Come on over and hang out with PWHL. They're sponsored by Barbie, at least they were last year. And we have some of the most amazing players. And I personally love the jailbreak rule. I will not bore the non-sports ball people with the jailbreak rule right now. If you know, you know. And if we do a whole hockey stream, I'll go into it. But the jailbreak rule, like, I wanna see the boys play with the jailbreak rule. I wanna see. I wanna see it. I want PWHL rules, scrimmage game, men versus women gold medalists. Let's go. I think you'd sell out tickets. The Heated Rivalry fans could join. I wanna see that. I wanna see that. Okay. I need to swoop. I need to take a breath. And then, are you ready? Are you ready? TLDR of the first week of the Kouri Richins trial, and then I will say goodnight. So oh, wait, no, I have to do swoop first. Aurora, swoop, swoop first. Swoop. Squirrel, squirrel. I went on a bunch of squirrels. Squirrel. Words. Mercury, microwave, squirrel. Okay. Show notes. Show notes. Because that's not show notes. That is not show notes. Go away. Go away. I know you can't see what I'm pulling up, which is fine. Show notes. Okay. Oh, before I get into the Kouri Richins trial, I am going to take a quick moment to sponsor me. I'm going to take a moment to sponsor myself because I have been working really hard the last couple of weeks, the last month, whatever it's been since we. So, for those of you who are brand new, I used to have another channel called The Unfiltered Tea. It's still up. There will come a time where I will put it behind a little bit of lockbox. Yes. It will disappear from immediate public consumption at a certain point. Anyway, um, link in the description of this video below, barksalotmedia.com. That is my website. That is the company. And we now have, I've got my Barksalot hoodie on. We've got merch available. You can go over the website, click on the thing. I need to change one thing up there because I think there's some sort of an issue with it, but that's okay. Anyway, click on it. It should take you right to the order page, and you can wear your Be Well, Do Good, Bark a Lot merch. And then I will see you in the wild, and I will be like, hey. Anyway, so there is that. We also do have memberships available on the website with some extra perks. And I have been doing a lot of show notes lately. I'm thinking of adding those into the membership perks so that you can go ahead and see that. But yeah, so that is my little self-sponsor. Okay. Doggy swoop, and then we will get into the TLDR of the Kouri Richins trial. For those of you who always ask me, because I've always had somebody ask me, what is TLDR? TLDR is too long, didn't read. I forgot to warn you about that swoop. My apologies if the bark caught some critter off guard. Okay, Kouri Richins trial. I am definitely going to need my show notes for this because it has been 5 days of trial, and every time I think there's going to be a normal trial, like, it was leading up to this, the attorneys were getting along, everything was normal, everything looked good, it was all just clipping along, the way we like to see court clip along, it was wonderful, and then trial begins. And I have listened to and watched enough trials let me tell you, it is truly astounding to me that the attorneys are one way when there is no jury. And so many of them have a completely different personality when a jury arrives. And that is where we are at now. So, the Kouri Richins trial. Who is Kouri Richins and why is she on trial? Well, Kouri Richins is a woman about my age from Utah, and the allegations against her for this trial, there are other crimes she is accused of. But this is the murder trial. This is the trial where she is accused of killing her husband with fentanyl. That it, basically that it was an intentional poisoning via fentanyl. And why go to murder when divorce exists? Well, um money is a really big motivating factor for a whole lot of people. I do not understand it, but apparently it seems as though if she divorced, she got nothing and she was not rolling in it on her own. Um Whereas if her husband died while they were together, that she thought she would inherit his business and whatever savings and stuff he had. Let's see. So that is the supposed motive for the murder. There is also a paramour, because of course there's a paramour of Kouri's that she was seeing at the time this was happening. And, while all of the trials and kerfuffles are coming in together, she also wrote a children's book about grief. There are lawsuits in and around the children's book now too. There are fraud cases, mortgage fraud and others. I just mentioned the children's book. That's a name and likeness case. Anyway, those are all severed off from this case. What that means is we are not going to hear about these alleged crimes in this particular case because it would be more prejudicial against Kouri than probative to this. Whether or not she committed mortgage fraud really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not she poisoned her husband. So even though they can be connected, they don't actually have anything to do with each other. So they are separate cases, separate trials. It's all separate. So we're not going to hear about certain things in the murder trial, which is the one that I am paying attention to at the moment. There have been some completely insane arguments made by the defense in this past week and in the last few pre-trial motions. I will give the defense this. They are working with really bad facts, like really, really bad facts. They're doing the best they can with the facts that they have. I am also going to say this. At least one of them lost me yesterday. Not a fan. Don't like her, how she went about it. No. If you want to see me do, here's my thing. I cannot make any promises, but I will say this. If you would like me to do more streams and do more things so that we can cover this case more in real time and not do just the weekly catch up, let me know in the comments. Find me on Threads. Find me on Instagram. Let me know there. I am willing to do it because each day this case just gets more and more insane. And so doing the weekly recaps, like that may just be all we do next week, but we also live in the United States and things pop off all the time, so I'm not gonna make that promise. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, day 1. Day 1 of trial. Um, I have no video pulled up of this, although if we do a real, like, zoom of it all, I will pull up video because opening statements are where each side gets to lay out basically what they expect the jury to see. It is the introduction to what they're gonna end up doing in court. The prosecution goes first, the defense goes second, because the prosecution has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Then the judge gives the litany of instructions, including what exactly is reasonable doubt and what can they consider and when. Fun fact, nothing until deliberation time. I mean, they can consider all of these things, but they can't make any decisions until deliberation time, even though human nature probably hits a decision much earlier than that. But the goal of being a juror is to really weigh the evidence as it comes in on its face. And at the end of all the trial, when you get presented with all of the evidence, if 2 options are possible, you have to go with whichever one favors the defendant because that is how our system is set up. And I am here for it. We also might want to remind, the DOJ that is how the system is set up because I don't think they are aware that that is how the system works in this country or is supposed to. But anyway, so the prosecution gets up. Now, I've listened to a lot of great opening statements. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know what goes into this, but I am a theater kid, and this is theater. This is the opening monologue for the theater that you were about to see. The best prosecution openings I've seen have always been, hello, I'm the prosecutor, the person on trial. The person over there is on trial for this. The evidence will show you all of these reasons why you should convict them. And then the defense, a good defense opening, gets up and says, hi, I'm representing this person, this defendant over here. There's innocent, and here's all of the reasons why I'm going to tell you why they're innocent. And or I'm the defense attorney. That's rare. And or hello, I am the defense attorney, and I'm going to poke holes in all of the things that the prosecution just gave you. Fair. In this particular Kouri Richins case, Mr. Bloodworth is the prosecutor, and he did one of the best openings I have ever seen. He would walk out, and he was like, these are the evidentiary things that I'm going to show you. And he brought some of them in. They can't be considered, but they make an impact, and they made one heck of an impact. And then he just sort of left it there. He's very good at letting the jury just come along and get to where he's trying to. He'll bring them there, and then he's just like, here you go. And he allows the jury the time to catch up and come think. And by the time he starts in again, he's got the jury, and that's smart lawyering. I loved his opening, and it was short, it was concise. It's like, here's what we're going to tell you. Done. Then the defense got up there and they just began their reign of confusion. I lost the plot 5 minutes in, and I did not realize that that was going to be just how this trial was going to go at the time. But yeah, and it included a common habit for the defense team, which I do not like, of particularly from one of the attorneys, Ms. Lewis. who it seems to be forever misstating evidence or misstating all of it. It's annoying. I don't like it. Don't misstate. Ju I like, you can oh, whoops, I can misspeak. It has happened so much at this time. It seems intentional to me. Um, so, yeah, and that gets my back up right away. Because if you've got even if you have bad facts, be a better lawyer. This is a tactic that I don't think is gonna work. I get I get why they're going with it, but I don't think it's gonna work, and I don't like that particular tactic at all. It's icky. I'm not a fan. Um, my own personal take on that. I don't I and if you do it too soon, you lose the jury. So I don't think it's a good strategy either. And I have no patience for the I'm just a dumb girl. Like, if you're gonna do it like Poot in the Murdoch case, I'm just a dumb country lawyer. No, you're not, sir, and you're not fooling anybody. But it was consistent and it was well placed. This is not well placed. It is not consistent, and I hate it so much. I hate it. I hate it so much. I do not like it. I don't think it comes off well either. I don't know what the jury is like. I can't see the jury. Anyway, day 1, witness 1. So we get through opening statements. Witness 1 was Eric Richins' father. Kouri gave him false autopsy results. You can tell where the family stands on what they think of Kouri's guilt or innocence, but they are not it doesn't have the bite. Like when the O'Keefes testified in Karen Reid trial 1 and 2, there was a bit of the vibe was very much like you I'm coming for you. You did the thing. It was a different vibe. This is more like the vibe that I get from Eric Richards' family is more sad and defeated and I mean it's a huge tragedy and um yes, sadness and defeat and disappointment is the vibe that I was getting from the testimony. Um, Witness number 2, and the reason the family goes first is also because in trials, there are sequestration orders for witnesses, right? So family witnesses can't be in the courtroom unless they've already testified because you can't have what they're seeing influence their testimony. So they are generally like the first ones that go so that they can then sit in the courtroom and watch the rest of the trial. That's why they are first on the list. So witness number 2 was Katie Richins Benson, Eric's sister. She's also the executor of the will and the person who is locked in several legal battles with the defendant. Um I really did I mean, both of their testimony was heart-wrenching. I appreciated how everybody questioned them and um they brought in some interesting information. Katie Richins brought in what was it? Oh, one of the things she did bring in is that uh, according to her testimony, Kouri was saying that Eric wanted to be cremated, and they had just had this very long discussion over the burial and planning out the burial and all of that because their family, the Richins family, is very much a burial family, not a cremation family. Um, and so that that is a thing of note for me and for the jury, I'm sure. Um, that one for me personally falls into a bit of a different category. I would note it, but I am only making a note of that until we get more information. Because sometimes the spouse knows things that the deceased never told the family, even so it could go either way for me. Um, then we found out the defense had lied about, intentionally or not, but the defense had lied about who was on their own witness list. That was a moment. That was a moment. That was a moment for me where I was like, "Oh, what? Could it have been a mistake?" I don't know. I don't know if it was a mistake. It definitely seemed like they were trying to I will give them the benefit of the doubt that it was a mistake, but that was a mistake I haven't seen. That was a mistake I have not seen before. That was um because we are at the end of the Traders season. I'm like, cue Alan Cummings because we're off to the races for this one. Witness number 3 was Katie's husband, and truthfully, I miss this testimony because trial days are long days and I can't listen to all of it. And some of it, I'm like, I need a break. I need to just go listen to some music for a while. So I missed that one. I haven't had a chance to catch up on it yet. Witness number 4 was one of the officers who arrived on scene the day of the incident. I missed most of his testimony too. Um, he was a witness providing the foundation for the body cam footage. My next note is day length, 84 years. Yeah, these are very, very long days. Day 2, I truthfully missed a ton of day 2. This is why I put all the folks that I'm watching and all the folks I'm paying attention to. This is why I'm putting their stuff in the description of this um video. If you're listening to me on one of the podcasting apps, hi, I'm over on YouTube and this is over there too. So you can find me on you can find the video version on YouTube. But yeah, so it was a lot. But day 2, even though I missed a lot, it was a lot of crime scene text. I saw this, I took this photo, I bagged this, I took this. It was a lot of that. We did learn that there were a lot of drugs and things that appeared 2 and 3 months later that seemed to have not been in the house the day that Eric Richins died. I made note of that. I want answers. There was a lot more body cam footage. I missed a lot of that. They had the first responders because you need these witnesses to be able to get a lot of the basics in. The medical examiner team. My note on this is, oh hey, looky there. All the drugs that killed him are in his stomach and not his bloodstream, which is helpful when figuring out when he died and could he have done this to himself, because it means that it took effect and things happened in a fast enough way that things like alcohol did not make it to his bloodstream. So there's that. Lots of test results. Basically, if you are a nerd like me, you love this day in court because this is all the foundation, all of this stuff. So you get a preview of a lot of the evidence that will be coming in later. But if you just want the tea and the drama, skip day 2. It is not your day. It is fine. Day 3, surprise, a super short day in court. I don't know why. It was they came in, they finished with cross-examination or something with one of the witnesses. Then all of a sudden, there was going to be a quick break, and the judge had a scheduling issue or something like that. And then they were done. Then they were done basically for the day. So it was a super short day. I do have a note here that the defense had asked a bad question and got an answer they didn't like. Basically, the question was, I'm paraphrasing, this is not verbatim, did you download the calls? And the crime scene tech that they were talking to said, can you clarify? Because they are trying to navigate not letting the jury know that these are jail calls, because the courts will go through great lengths to not let a jury know that a defendant is in custody, because that can be prejudicial. So, the defense attorney responded to the clarification, like, did you download specific calls? That's not clarifying anything. So the tech said the jail calls? And then it was a whole sidebar, blah, 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 and a big deal. Like, ma'am, when you said home wave calls, the tech got it immediately, and me, and I assume most of the members on the jury, missed entirely that is a system that does the jail. Like, come on. You could have just said that. Do I think it was an accidentally on purpose oopsie doodle? I think that's just as likely. Either that, or she is a trial attorney who doesn't ask good questions. So that. And that was basically day 3. That was pretty much the entirety of day 3. Day 4. Witness 12 was a crime scene tech. More tech stuff, more foundation stuff. The crime scene tech, God, after the Karen Reid trial, rounds 1 and 2, can I tell you, it's still pleasantly refreshing to have all of these officers and techs and things like that have their body cam on and do an actual investigation and mark things and have a chain of custody and stuff like that. So there's a color code, witness number 13, basically they color coded all of their arrows and stuff like that, so that when you see a picture, you know the date, the time, like, so helpful. Helpful enough that I made a note of it, because I was like, yay! Organization! Isn't it fun? Then witness number 13 was Dr. Brianna Peterson, forensic toxicologist. I missed most of both of these. I did. I missed both of these for the most part. I think I caught up, but there's just a lot that goes into the toxicology and stuff like that, there's it's needed, but it does not have a dramatic flair really at all. This is my next note on here is mostly this is foundation day. Bring in all the people to lay the foundation to be able to bring in their other evidence. Cop did thing, tech did thing, doctor did testing. Here's the results. It also establishes some things that do need to legally be established, which are things like the deceased is in fact deceased, and this is what they died from, and this is what was found in the decedent's system, and things like that. And then toward the end of the day, the go-between for the drugs. So these are things that we know to be true, that Kouri Richins had asked this lady, Carmen Lauber, for drugs. How do we know this? Your phone is going to tell on you every time. So there's text messages. Your tech is always going to tell on you. So Carbon Lauber takes the stand. This is one of those witnesses that's like, if for those of us who've been following this trial since, I don't know, a couple since Kouri got arrested. Oh, I'm like, turn the volume up. Let's go. Let's let's listen to what she has to say. I want to hear her testimony. Absolutely. Um, and truly, she seemed nervous, but she seemed honest. With a witness like this who has an immunity deal, the prosecution has to ne- walk a tightrope when they first get on the stand. And then under cross examination, you really see, are they just telling the truth or not? And she was. I mean, that's the vibe that I got from her. I definitely got the vibe that she was just there to tell the truth. She is sober. Kudos to you, Miss Lauber. That is, we heard a little bit about her history and things like that. And yeah, she seemed incredibly nervous and also very honest. And it doesn't surprise me at all that she was incredibly nervous. It's hard enough to be a witness, I imagine, when you're not up there also admitting to crimes that somebody has promised you won't be charged for. But I feel like probably a little difficult to believe that, you know? So anyway, this is through her testimony, it is the first time that we hear the "Get me the Michael Jackson" stuff. Yeah, that's testimony that Corey asked for the Michael Jackson stuff. Which is funny because if she wasn't getting it for the alleged purposes, that's a choice of words to go with on that. Um, Mr. Bloodworth was the prosecutor doing Carbon Lauber's direct examination, and I have to applaud how he went through it. It was very methodical. He took care of her. He gave her the room to think, to speak. He was not jumping on her answers. It was very refreshing. I'm a big fan of Bloodworth's attorneying in the courtroom. Big fan. Um then let's see, they went over the community service letters that Kouri had forged for Miss Lauber so that she could get community service credit for the drug court program. Too many pronouns. Defendant Kouri forged documents for witness Carmen Lauber for the drug court program that witness Carmen Lauber was working her way through at the time. So there was testimony about that. And testimony about how and when the defendant asked for the drugs. Then there on this particular day, there is a really interesting legal argument outside the presence of the jury about foundation for text messages to come in. If you are fascinated by the nerd sections of the law, I would go watch that. If you do not care about that and the tea is all you're interested in, skip that part. Skip that is a nerds only section of court, I think. I mean, I would still say check it out because you never know you're a nerd until you watch an argument like that and see what you think about it. But anyway, um, after the nerd section, then we have cross examination. And my note on that was the start of what I swear is confusion on purpose. I hate it. Her tone annoys me. Ms. Lewis, the defense attorney, Ms. Lewis, gets up and comes in super hot. Now, when you have a witness like Miss Carmen Lauber, and let's just say Miss Lewis does have ways to discredit her, your best option with a very likable witness is to treat them like the likable witness that they are. If they're already combative and you come in hot, me as a juror, I don't care. Go get him, attorney. But if it is somebody who's clearly very nervous and clearly the way she's coming across to me is, I just want to tell you the truth and get out of here and go home. Like, that is the mission end goal. And so when the defense attorney comes in super combative, that's a choice. It's a strategy choice. It's also one hell of a gamble because Ms. Lauber did not waver. Her personality, her vibe, her demeanor, all of it stayed relatively the same, other than there was a little more like, oh, this is not going to be easy or comfortable. Okay. Um, and then on top of it, Ms. Lewis does this thing that drives me crazy. Too many pronouns, not enough specifics. She will ask a question about one date, and then the witness will give an answer, and then Ms. Lewis, the attorney, is like, "Oh, I was talking about April 15th, not April 13th." And I'm like, "You said 2 seconds ago April 13th. This witness gave you an answer for April 13th, and now you're like, "Oh, no, that's not what I meant." I hate it. I have no patience for that. Drives me crazy. I mm, I don't like it, and it is not sitting well, I think, with the jury because the prosecution is not objecting a whole lot, and the judge has clocked it and has started putting guardrails on her. I love the judge in this trial, by the way. He is like the definition of judicial demeanor. Huge fan. Um, let's see. And no, I'm trying to catch up with myself and my notes here. Halfway through cross, the end of day arrives. Everybody watching in real time needed a nap and a snack. So true. So true. The defense, the balancing and lack of specificity. Ah. And then, and then, and then Ms. Lewis clapped back at the judge at one point when he tried to put some guardrails on her, or at least be like, "Hey, can we get a little specificity?" And she clapped back at the judge. Uh, no. No, 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 no. No, no. Mm-mm. It was like a sassy teenager and a parent who is not being unreasonable. Um, it was it was insane. And then so then we get through all of that. End of day arrives, jury leaves, everything is fine, and then we find out from the judge who put this on the record that there was somebody in the audience. So not connected that we know of to either side of the case, not one of those parties, but press and public, right? That there was somebody sketching the jurors' faces and putting their juror number with their face. Well, a juror clocked it, wrote a note to the judge, passed through to the judge via bailiff, which is the correct way to do it, as I understand it. And the bailiff found the supposed artist, took their notebook, confirmed that they were in fact sketching the jurors without the jurors' consent, and putting the juror number next to it, and proceeded to yeet the proceeded to pull the images from the sketchbook, handed empty sketchbook back to person, and yeeted person from court for the rest of trial. So they will not be there again, but don't do that. Don't do that. You can get a general makeup if you are sitting in the gallery or in the audience. If you want to provide the internet or whoever with a sense of jury makeup, you can. You can say how many women are on the jury, how many men are on the jury, their ethnicity or skin tone, their relative ages, that kind of thing. You know what you don't do? You don't put out any identifying anything unless the jury says, unless the juror says to do that. And I do not know how long I've been out of focus, but we will try and get me back into focus, because apparently the computer, my camera. Cheers to get us back into focus. Can we get me back into focus? I mean, I don't mind being a little bit fuzzy around the edges, but come on. Camera, Mercury, I'm almost done, guys. Hey, look, be well, do good, live, bark a lot. There we go. All right. Apparently, my camera just wanted me to show off the sticker that is now on my cup that is also available in the Barkalot shop. So, sure. All right, we are almost done. That is day 4. Yeah, don't identify jurors unless they say yes, you can identify me. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't. It is a civic duty. And to the person who ended up doing that and got yeeted from court, I wish upon you the most boring round of jury service you can possibly imagine. I mean, do it well. But yeah. So now we're on to day 5. Friday. Yesterday. A million years ago. Carmen Lauber is back on the stand. The defense attorney continues to misstate evidence, bounce around on dates, times, etc. At this point, the judge has clocked this, and you can sort of hear kind of that his patience is very quickly running out. And they, oh my God, Ms. Lewis tried. They've been watching. EDB said this, and I agree. They've been watching too many trials online, because you know how when you take a selfie, the phone mirrors it, because when we look into a mirror, we see an inverted version basically of our face, and that is what we are used to seeing. So the cameras on the phones and stuff tend to mirror so that you look like you to you when you're taking a picture. I don't, I mean, that common knowledge, people know that that's the picture. And so one of the pictures that they brought up was from the car, because there were texts back and forth between, because Carmen Lauber was the go-between between the guy who actually got the stuff that ended up allegedly killing Eric Richins, and she was the middleman, right? So Carmen's the one who was talking with Kouri and getting the money and going and meeting this other guy and then bringing the stuff back to Kouri. And so she didn't know this guy. This was a friend of a friend, basically. And so as they're going back and forth and figuring out where they're going to meet, It's because they don't know each other and because this is going to be a, meet in gas station parking lot, exchange money and drugs and go their separate ways. But they don't know who they're looking for. So, of course, pull out camera, take selfie, blah, blah, blah. And that selfie is the one that is brought in. So, this defense attorney tried to pull an Alan Jackson. Like, truly, it was, she brings it up, she presents it, it says, who? Yes, this is me, blah, blah, blah. Well, isn't that an inverted picture? Ma'am, Ms. Lewis, your facts suck. Alan Jackson had amazing facts on his side. David Yannetti, that whole team, they had great facts. The facts did half the work for them. Truly. The facts did actually 80% of the work for them. Well, no, half. Half the work. You don't get to pull that on a phone selfie that isn't evidence, isn't being presented as evidence. It's not the being presented as evidence of the crime scene or anything. Like, it was a selfie. So no, you don't get to play that game. And tell us how you really feel about Aurora. That. Then, because mercury is in the microwave, there was an accidental recording of a witness that shouldn't have been recorded because of the nature of their work. Now, here is where I have to give a huge shout out to the streamers and to Court TV, who is the pool cam on this. The second it was discovered, things got pulled down, people pulled their streams, editing happened, and because Emily D. Baker does her show, she goes live about an hour or so after court starts so that there's Zoom room. You can take a 45-minute or a half-hour lunch and turn it in 10. All of that, and because, well, commentary, which is why I watch over there. But because it's on a delay, huge, huge shout out to the community of the streamers and the YouTubers who are covering this trial, because in the chat while this is happening, right, there are alerts getting to the, like, she hasn't gotten there yet. Has she? No, no, no. So so if you were watching with Emily D. Baker, it's not even in the day at all because she was able to just skip over that part of the feed. And then I think she mentioned that she was going to pull her feed down and then make it available to folks who were then in the process of having to edit theirs, which is just a bear, especially when you've done it live. So I just want to say this is one of the reasons why I ended up joining this community. It's one of the reasons why I have a show. It's one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite things to end up doing and stuff like that, because that was a community coming together to protect the witness, to protect the courtroom, to protect the decorum, and to protect everybody's rights and to take care of each other. There wasn't this like, oh, we're just going to let her not know and do it. There was none of that. It was all support, 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 support. And it makes me so very happy to see that. More of that, less of this, I'm going to scoop them, more of, we're all doing this. We're all here. We all respect each other. We all know where we're at. Like, love that. So that happened. And then the next witness was Robert Crozier, who was the guy who did, in fact, have the drugs that ended up with Kouri and all of that. Now this is, if we've been following the pretrial motions, this is the person who changed their statement. So they gave an initial statement and then they amended it. And the defense that was real mad at Miss Lauber and also tried to insinuate that her learning disability is was the reason that, like, she wasn't trustworthy. Ooh, I got real mad at the tactics of cross-examination at times. But it was a very different, it's like Ms. Lewis had a completely different vibe with this person, and all the shade that she had for Ms. Lauber requesting that the police officers write out her affidavit. And like she would look it over, she would say, yes, this is, yes, that, and sign it. Because she didn't want to get anything wrong and she didn't want to, like, okay, all the shade she had for that, she didn't have for Crozier, who instead it was like, well, Ms. Lewis was like, well, I wrote the amendment, didn't I? Yes, you did. And you did a wonderful job. Like, wait a minute. So it's okay for you, but it's not okay for them? I have questions. I have so many more questions. And his original story just so happens to be better for the defendant. I have a lot more questions. And he was, I mean, at the end of the day, do I think that his testimony did anything one way or another? No. Because he was there, because the police have all of what they need. The police and the prosecution, they have everything they need on the actual devices. They have the text messages. They have all the tech data. They have the locations. They know, they have all the location data. They have all of that. They need the testimony so that they can put all of those puzzle pieces together. I don't think this guy made this guy made no impact on me other than like, okay, yeah. And it happened. Congratulations. We know that this exchange took place for realsies. And all of that is foundation so that when the digital stuff comes in, we'll actually see the printout. And at the very end of the day, because why could we have a normal day? No normal day. No. At the very end of the day, after the jury leaves, then the judge puts a thing on the record that says that it didn't have to happen now because I think that man wanted to rush home and not be thinking about any of this for half a minute, which is totally fair given the week. But he was like, not right now. It doesn't have to be right now, but at some point very soon, I would like to go on the record and make a better record for why I denied the motion for mistrial. So the defense apparently at some point this week filed a motion for mistrial. Don't know when, don't know why. Have a sneaking suspicion it was one of their open mouth insert foot moments. So that. But so that's the cliffhanger that we are left with until Monday. Because of course we have a cliffhanger. Why wouldn't we? Is it really a trial if we don't have a cliffhanger on Friday? I will, for all of the, we never should have been there at all with the Karen Reed trial. And for all the shade I have for Judge Cannone, that woman was a master at a cliffhanger. Intentional, not intentional, don't really know. But she was a master of the cliffhanger. I appreciate Judge M, who tries, it seems, to avoid the cliffhanger, but is also the judge presiding over whatever this is that we're watching. Anyway, um, I will see you in the chat if you are like me and want to go hang out with any of those. I highly recommend, if you have not checked those folks out, go check them out. I think you'll, and if you hang out with me for this long, um you will enjoy, I think, at least one of the folks that I have posted in the description. All right, let's see. Where are we at? I think we are at the end of the day. I'm going to swoop once more before I say goodnight, because we need a swoopy swoop. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for everything. I hope all of you are well. I hope all of you are safe. I hope your weather is being kind to you. Don't forget to do the subscribing things, the liking things, all the YouTube podcast things that help the algorithm get my channel in front of other people as well. And if you have a friend and you're like, oh my god, my friend would love you, please share with them, because we would love to add to the community. It would make me so happy. Let's see. I am looking at my final notes. I'm going to keep an eye on where we're at. If we need to do a Sunday show or a Monday show because the president is entering the FAFO Olympics, I yeah, I will we'll keep an eye on it. Feel free. I'm over on Threads, I'm over on IG, on Instagram. Those are where I'm at the most. So feel free to go ahead and tag me if there are things that you think I ought to see like immediately. Um because shit's getting weirder by the day. And our our president is, running the country like one of his failing casinos that hasn't passed the latest building inspection code. So, you know, yeah, this timeline is no, I want to I want to go to the alternate universe. Anyway, we're here. Thank you for sticking with me. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love you so much. And with that, I need to go. I need to go play my game and catch up on some of the witnesses that I missed, or whatever. I need something fun. I caught up on traders last night. I need something that is not the news to catch up on. So I'm going to go do that. You guys have an amazing evening. I know this was a super long one because I tried to fit lots of stuff into one. Thank you for hanging with me. And I hope the rest of your weekend and your week is just lovely. May Mercury be kind. And as always, be well, do good, and remember to bark a lot. I will see you on the next one. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bark a Lot. Follow me on Threads and Insta at the Aurora H. White. That's where I post most frequently between shows. Hit that like button, connect with us, and remember to bark a lot. We will see you next time.